In the WWF's golden era, the benevolent Jack Tunney ruled impartially. His presence as an on-screen president was rare. Only when the shit really hit the fan did he sort that shit out. When Rick was too rude, Tunney suspended him. When it came time to put the WWF and Intercontinental Championship on the line, he was there. When Lex Luthor, the f***ing cyborg mullet man, was barred from using his forearm in a match against Tubby Terror Yokozuna, you can bet your Lex Express he was present. He demonstrated the effect of less being more, as his power resulted from how little he was used on camera. He became seen as too important for the trivial squabbles, and it would take a big deal for him to come down from the mountain. With Tunney at the helm, matches didn't happen impromptu. Everything was planned. It had order, not like Shane and Kurt who appear to pull matches out of their asses, which unsurprisingly has resulted in some absolute shit. The upshot of, forward thinking was that a promotion featuring an anthropomorphic rooster was weirdly more realistic than a brand in which the majority of platformers all bear their real names. Later on, the WWF stumbled upon something magical as the anti-hero Stone Cold Steve Austin fought Mr. McMahon in a legendary feud. The problem is that WWE struck that mine with no more gold in it year after year, antagonist after antagonist. McMahon versus Bobby Lashley, John Laurinaitis versus CM Punk, Triple H versus Daniel Bryan. The WWE hoped to replicate the success of the Attitude Era, but the thing is that Austin versus McMahon worked so well because it was immensely satisfying and strangely believable. And it was fun watching this hilarious badass humiliate a corporate slimeball time and time again. And few of these copycat feuds made sense. Lashley was McMahon's wet dream of a wrestler, so it was hard to take him as seriously angry when he was eyeing up the man's pecs. Why was John Laurinaitis an on-screen authority figure in the first place? He was so clueless off-screen that he hired the wrong one-legged wrestler. He had no authority with which to play an authority figure. It was farcical, impossible to believe in. And then there's Stephanie McMahon. Well, she's a mixed bag. So if Stephanie McMahon is the latest in this line of heel figures, who was the first? Well, let's find out, shall we? With this in mind, I'm Jules from WhatCulture.com, and this is wrestling's first ever heel authority figure. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, dong. Well, McMahon took inspiration from Eric Bischoff, who in storylines used his real-life power to put over the NWO as a legitimate threat to the WCW. Bischoff was brilliant in this role, a slimy, pretend hard man. He was very easy to hate, but harder to humiliate. But Bischoff himself also took inspiration from McMahon, who in 1993 first toyed with the idea of the Mr. McMahon character as part of the WWF's cross-promotional deal with the USWA. To sign Jerry Lawler, the last territory holdout, McMahon agreed to support Lawler's promotion. He did so by sending WWF talents there under the pretense of dethroning the King, effectively playing a heel in the process. The non-canon Memphis McMahon character was more sinister and unsettling than his hammy WWF update. Smug and holier-than-thou, this was an understated McMahon, if you can believe that. He generated heat through being subtly disingenuous. Memphis was the beginning of Mr. McMahon. It was also the genesis point of the role he perfected. Perhaps he was inspired by the original heel promoter, Tom Renesto. In a role years ahead of its time, Renesto in the Continental Wrestling Association was introduced as an authority figure inspired by, of all things, the roller derby in its old semi-scripted incarnation. Renesto was used as an antagonist to develop interest in a storyline between the face, Jerry Lawler, and the heel, Mongolian Stomper. Renesto played the role with a simmering, indignant contempt and accused Lawler of corruption. In Renesto's mind, Lawler intimidated CWA personnel and fans into believing that he was a hero, when really, by refusing to face the Stomper, he was more like a coward. Lawler, in response, claimed that he had worked too hard for a jerk like the Stomper to cheat his way into the money match with then NWA World Champion Ric Flair. Renesto then quit and managed Stomper as the rivalry made its way to the ring, but not before inventing a role that simply would not go away. It was both influential and very well done. There was a genuine and credible motivation behind Renesto's actions. They were not the actions of a person marched out in front of the cameras under the transparent pretense of getting a babyface over, or has somehow become the norm, burying them. It was an immense and layered storyline. How this evolved into Stephanie McMahon refusing to sell for an entire roster except for one performer is an altogether sadder tale. And you know what? Poor Renesto. For all his work as a heel authority figure and as a tag team specialist, he doesn't even boast a Wikipedia entry. That's what happens when the victors write the history books. But then again, the WWE sure has a few pages missing.
Oh, wasn't that something? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe below, and also the people who made this lovely video, they're appearing right here. But if you're thinking to yourself, I want to see more content, Jules, then why not look above my head, as there probably is some. I don't know. I can't see it. Until next time.